Welcome to Cinematalkraphy. We watch movies with you so you don't have to.
Welcome to Cinematalkraphy. I'm your host, Roberto Villegas, joined as always by...
Roberto Villegas.
Yes, I've completely...
Oh, wait. No, you meant my name.
Right.
Yeah, I'm Brandt.
I was getting scared because maybe that I finally have figured out how to clone myself and have myself as a host. That would be the most inceptual episode, I think, though, of anything I do, if ever I was interviewing myself or talking to myself.
Oh, wait, we're not doing Fight Club?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. That's an entirely different... That would be the scary episode.
I was Tyler Durtering you.
Were you Tyler Durting me?
Yeah.
No, today we are doing The Cabin in the Woods, and this is a special...
That's a good movie.
It's a great movie, and this is a special one because...
Spoilers,
because it's actually on Netflix. This is the first time we're going to do a Netflix film.
Yeah, Netflix. Woo!
So that means if you're happen to be part of the service for Netflix, if you have not, it's very cheap, and chances are if you listen to other podcasts, there's going to be an ad for it to get you 2 weeks free or something like that.
There's some free trials if you want.
Totally, of course.
Ease of access. That's what I've always said.
Exactly, and plus... This will make it a lot easier for you guys to sync up the movie. You don't have to go bother renting something or grabbing a disc or doing all that crap.
Yeah. You just turn on your computer and you hit the buttons. And I mean, since you're listening to this, that's probably how you got to us. So
there you go. The movie is 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 59 seconds long, directed by...
It's not really important.
No, it's not really important. The more important part is the fact it's written by Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Did you see this when it came, before we go into our episode proper, did you see this when it played during South by that year?
No, but I did see it in theaters.
I did too. I thought it was great. All right, count us down, Brandt. And here we go.
Go ahead.
What's your favorite, as my non-sequitur question, what is your favorite movie logo intro?
That's a good question. Probably Focus Features, just because I associate that with Eternal Sunshine, which I deeply love.
As terrible as their movies were, and they always had some that I always liked New Line Cinemas. And that might be just because I saw it so many times as a kid for all their films.
I don't think I remember that. Which one was
that? Was the one with like the film kind of thing. They had like I think it was like a blue logo. It had like a film, like piece of film, not even like a reel of film, but like a piece of like a frame of film, and it's like New Line Cinema and presents Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I think I remember that. Didn't New Line do the Mortal Kombat movie?
Yes, they did. They did that.
Yeah.
So
I remember it through that. Sure.
No, but we are doing this film, Cabin in the Woods. So when you first saw this film, did you even have a clue what you're getting into?
No. I went in totally cold.
Same here.
It was great.
I really, really dug the fact that I went in cold because a lot of times with this film, like the only thing I knew was that Joss wrote it. Joss Whedon, and I was a huge Firefly fan, huge Serenity fan. I dug a lot of his stuff. And so I was like, let's see what this guy does. And we come into this like this almost illustrates pretty much like what you're getting into for a Joss Whedon film. It's all dialogue. There's so many scenes. Yeah. I can't wait till certain parts. But no, I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Yeah, I dragged my dad along to it, and he had never even heard of it at that point.
Oh man!
So it was really interesting because when we start out, it like once it gets past this scene, it goes into like the really like cheesy B movie kind of stuff, and I was just sitting there like, I trust this is gonna be great, but I feel like you're testing me. See, and I knew my dad was like, "What did you bring me to?"
See, me, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Yeah. All I knew was a horror movie written by Joss, and I'm like, let's see what he does.
I don't even think I knew it was a horror movie.
That's all I knew. All I knew were those kicker points. And I had to see it just for those things before. But this even had a weird history too, because it was like shelved for a long, long time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like you could tell because like when this came out, I think Thor had already been in theaters. And if you look at Chris...
That's great.
Yep. If you look at Chris Hemsworth when he comes on screen, like he is tiny compared to what he would be as the mighty Thor.
Yeah.
And so... like that's the kicker point right there. But I dug how they had done some stuff and where they were going with things like this, and there's certain twists for sure that I really really like more as you get further in the film that kind of explain certain things.
Yeah, it's a really smart movie.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, I had just no idea what the hell I was getting myself into, and I'm very happy with how things worked out after watching this movie. But like at this point, I was right. I was like, what is this? This is such a B kind of movie plot, and I can imagine what your dad like. What did you think after the whole thing? Since I mean, I know we're kind of jumping ahead in our discussion, but
yeah,
I just want to know because I'm curious what your dad thought. That's the only reason why.
Afterwards, my dad ended up enjoying it. I don't think he really likes to be challenged by his movies all that much. He definitely enjoyed it. I mean, he's like a big fan of Shaun of the Dead,
yes,
and stuff. So it was kind of in his wheelhouse a little bit, you know.
Right.
He thought it was interesting, but yeah, I could definitely tell like around this time he was real skeptical.
My thing with this movie was I think it was my friend, it was Curly's sister, Brian Curly, friend of the show and friend of all the content here on CosmicRadio.TV in general. See, this is how you can tell it's older because look at Chris Hemsworth. Look at this guy, not that guy. That's his friend. That guy. That guy was Thor about that time this movie came out.
Yeah,
he is tiny compared to Thor, you know.
Sure.
And so yeah, this is but yeah,
he actually looks like a mortal human being
exactly
in this film.
As opposed to a god that he is.
Sure.
But no. So I think it was Curly's sister, Brian Curly's sister, that when I told her about this movie, because the thing is when this was advertised. Like, the marketing for this was totally off base.
Yeah.
Because this is the kind of movie that if you explain it to somebody and tell them the real premise...
It kind of takes some of the magic out of it,
exactly,
you know?
It does. Like, it spoils it into an nth degree. And it's such a hard movie to explain to people.
Yeah, I imagine it would be incredibly hard to market.
Yeah, because, the way they marketed it was... like Cabin in the Woods, it's a horror film with gore and things like that. When that's but one layer to the onion that is this movie.
Right.
Oh, I love.
Oh my God.
I love that bong.
It's so great.
That is my favorite bong. I hope that there's a head shop somewhere in the world that made that a product.
God, Fran Kranz is like the best person on the planet. I love him so much.
I was about to say. I hope somebody, some freaking head shop made that into a product. Because if they didn't, they are losing valuable money. I would buy that. Now I'm not even a pothead. That needs to be a product.
I just want to spend like every hour of every day with Marty.
Oh man! And what I love about the show, about this, first and foremost, that at the very beginning of the movie, we see like Chris Hemsworth. Like if you guys noticed. He's like actually a smart character. Like he comes up saying like, "No, I'll teach you how crazy physics work and things like that."
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, there's so much stuff that I'm waiting until the like certain joke moments come up now. We're watching the movie, aren't we?
Yeah. So, do you think it's like it's a little bit daring in just how like dedicated into being, as posing the facade of one of these movies, at least in the beginning.
Oh my God, yes. It's one of the things I really dug about the film was that like
there's not really any winks or anything.
No,
it's just
no.
like they're full on in it, with exception to some of these.
Well, the thing is, like, it takes a while before you realize, like, that's what we're in for. Like, I think this is where they start revealing those notes, is that it's coming into that, like that's what they're doing. Because at this point you don't quite know what's going on,
right?
You know, it could be this conspiracy movie, it could be something else, but you don't quite know. It isn't until right at this moment that we start to feel what's happening. What I dig about this movie a lot is that it makes a lot of those kind of notes, and when it makes its winks, so to speak, it does. Like right here is where we start to begin to see what's going on.
Yeah, but even then, it's kind of hinting at it, and like everything that's that's following them is pretty true to form.
Yep.
And then all of the surveillance stuff, like they don't fully express what exactly is happening, but it's just weird enough that you're like, okay, there is something interesting happening, and it's not just one of these shitty horror movies. Right. Like it is, but there's also something else going on, and it just kind of strings you along.
And I think that's like when you start to get the inner stuff, because like right now, all these are tropes. I think what I dug about the movie so much was that it explained the tropes.
Sure.
It explained in a metafiction kind of way why the tropes exist and why these movies exist. And I think that's the layer that it's hard to explain to people, because if you tell them that, then you've already spoiled the movie. Like,
right.
You've already ruined it for them, and the kick isn't there. Because so much like you and I went and it's cold, which is great. Because like I said, the marketing for this was like they marketed as a straight up horror film, like almost like how every other horror film was marketed.
Yeah.
And it sucks because if you had told people that no, this is the movie. Like when I tell my friends, just see Cabin in the Woods, like, oh, that looked terrible. I go, no, just trust me on this one. Like I told my friend Mario, you've got to see Cabin in the Woods. Trust me, you're gonna dig the hell out of it. Mm-hmm. And he was like on the fence because the marketing was like, Cabin in the Woods, come see the horror film of the summer, that kind of crap.
Really, the trailer should have just been Cabin in the Woods. Trust us.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go see it.
Because I showed it to him when he saw it. He's like, dude, that was spot on my face. Like he was so happy he saw that film. And everyone I've shown that you kind of just say, just watch it. I can't tell you why. I know the marketing's terrible, but just trust me on this one. Because as you get to this scene here, like all this is just typical kind of crap, right?
Yeah.
All this is our usual kind of horror movie sort of things. But I'm waiting until we get back.
The bloody eye is a nice touch.
Oh God, yes. Thing is, like I said, once you get past this point here, like because right now everything seems just typical.
Fucker. Oh, that's great.
Because like right here, like because everything is like, what am I got myself into? What's this beeline? How do they all connect? And then here,
and by here you mean
there. Sometime. When does it come? It comes up.
Well, they show the bird, right?
Yes.
That's the part where they're kind of like, hey, check this out.
Yeah. Because it's like, because the thing is, once that's been revealed, like, guys, take as they cross the chasm, and so like once
here it is.
Here it is.
Yeah, because this is where the bike scene happens later.
Yeah, exactly. Once they reveal that, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once they reveal that, then things start to get a bit strange.
Because then you're like, all right, now I know something is happening.
Exactly, and it's because of that, because you don't think, what's going on? Is this now a typical movie? Is this not? What is it we're watching at this point in time? And that's the kicker point. That's sort of what happens. And there's even more into the end scene, like eventually coming up. But yeah, because I was marketed so poorly, but there's really no way to market this. Like that's why it was shelved for so long, is because it's not that it's a bad movie. It's a great film, and it's very much could be niche for certain horror fans and things like that. But because it's such a, like if you made a trailer for what the real film is, you could not.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that has to live off of word of mouth.
Exactly.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate because it's a very smart film. It's very much that kind of movie that if you're into the genre or know the tropes of the genre, much like Shaun of the Dead or much like even like Hot Fuzz in terms of, buddy cop movies and things like that, if you know the tropes and things like that in the genre, it's like perfect send-off to it, but even more so because it explains a lot of them and almost adds, like, again, another layer of metafiction to it, which I dug.
Right.
And so, it's such a shame. It sucks so much because, like there's all these kind of like, all these sort of...
I think I'd be really interested to hear some of the thoughts that went into researching and designing how to make like the most stereotypical cabin.
That's true.
Like the set design and stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of those I would love to see. This is oh man, is this where they reveal the This is where they show the mirror, right?
Yeah, the one-way mirror.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, this isn't how one-way mirrors work, but I'm okay with.
No, of course not.
Suspending disbelief.
Right, and then that's when she starts. This is again.
This is where the movie really starts.
Yes, exactly, because this is a horror trope of like the guy. I love that he stops himself and then he says, "Do I look? Do I keep going?" Because this is like such a horror trope.
Mm-hmm.
And he questions himself, and he's like,
"What a good guy."
And it's the idea of like now they're going to search for cameras and things like that. That it's like, dude, is it under surveillance? That's being the nice guy.
Where have I seen that dude before?
Wasn't he?
He's got such a familiar face.
I know he's been in. You may have to check the Weber nets because I'd like to say he was in some science fiction film or some science fiction series.
I want to look that up.
Because that's why his face reminds me of, and that's the only thing is I've seen a lot of science fiction-y stuff that I'd like to believe he was in something science fiction related. That being, of course, the character that becomes the stereotypical nerd, which I really dug. Also, how they explain why certain people have to be certain things, and how they got around it, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the mythos,
right?
When they talk to the guy.
Yeah, man, I don't know. He's been in some stuff, but not really anything I've ever seen.
What has he been in?
Like Grey's Anatomy and some other things.
I know I've seen his face. That's the problem. I've seen his face before.
Maybe he's just one of those guys.
Maybe.
It's like, hey, I know you from somewhere, but not really. Not really.
What's the actor's name? So at least we can at least credit this dude without
Jesse Williams.
Jesse Williams. So everybody, look out.
Have you seen him? Have you seen this man?
And he's now getting naked, and he puts the painting up, and she goes, looks at the painting, sees it. It's like, no, we ain't doing this again. I want that painting for my room, by the way.
That'd be a pretty dope painting.
That would be a pretty dope painting. I think you just
Put it in your foyer.
Yep.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah. I like how nobody flipped over the painting. Here it is. This is where now other, if you were already weirded out by then, you have more weirding out.
I wonder what their data usage is like in that facility.
God, there's so many things I wonder about this movie in terms of this
Oh snap! She was in that one. She was that one girl, right?
From what?
She was in. Wasn't she in Angel and the end of Buffy?
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, she was. That's great.
Well, it's not like Joss Whedon doesn't bring in people he's worked with before.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he does all kinds of stuff with Frank Cranston.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again,
but I guess when I first saw this, I had never seen Angel or Buffy.
Oh, okay. So
that's a new revelation for me.
Well, now we have seen it. I'm just weeded. Here it is. It's so great.
Yeah, this is a pretty awesome moment.
This is great. This is like my favorite scene in the whole thing. That's probably my favorite part of the whole movie is that thing. Is this whole entire the whole concept of if I'm on speakerphone.
Yeah, it's a really nice little moment.
I think that's what I dig the most about this movie is that, where it sets moments and how when it takes its gags and how it does it in such a interesting way that I love it. Like I love the fact that it does this kind of movie. Mm-hmm. And everything else.
This came out right around the same time as Tucker and Dale, right?
I think so.
It's kind of interesting how that always seems to happen.
Well, like I said, this movie got a lot of buzz at South by because that's where they released it on, and it was smartly released during South by Southwest, I think. But this had been tabled for so long that I didn't realize they had, I would love to pause that scene right there to see all the data that they've got on things.
Yeah. But we can't do that, Roberto.
No, we can't. We may have.
We got to keep going.
We do.
There's no stopping this party train.
Two, and again, I dig the film because at this point in time, when I first watched it, I had no idea what was going to happen at the end. I had no idea that it was going to be that whole reversal and everything else. You don't know why these guys are running this scenario, and I think that's what I dug about the film is that it's a horror comedy at times. Like it gets funny and whatever, but it's a legit horror film. It's legit blood, gore, and guts kind of thing. but when it completely flips the script, even at that, like it flips the script and it almost flips it again, kind of in a way, not necessarily like to horror film, but if it flips it to a comedy, but even that has a layer of like reality to it. If that makes any sense. Like, it explains, and I think that's what that part I wasn't prepared for when it came up.
Sure.
And
what are your thoughts on the mythos that they've built in this universe?
I dug it a lot. I thought it was a really clever way of explaining why it is all these movies have the same kind of thing, and why is it that we keep repeating the same story.
Yeah.
I liked it because it almost made it almost gave that like shitty beeline story for horror movies a bit more gravitas than it normally would have.
It's great that it's such a good film that it actually makes other films better.
Exactly. Like it gives it like, because you get to that point and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even see that coming when it comes to that point there.
Yeah.
Of like the archetypes and what they mean and what happens when like the blood needs to be sacrificed for this. Because I don't even see that coming first and foremost. Because everything, because as we go deep and deeper down and how they explain why these characters exist the way they are. Because like the thing is, they didn't even they weren't even here yet.
Where?
Like the thing is that when they began this whole story, they weren't stereotypes. Like, look, right now Chris Hemsworth is now becoming more and more the stereotypical jock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once they get into the controlled environment, they definitely branch off further into their extremes of.
And I think that's why I dug, because it's this steady decline into that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, one or two remaining characters, spoiler, even though you should have watched the movie if you're listening to this commentary. I think I'm going to do that every commentary, make sure to spoil something so early to prevent people from watching this when they listen to it first time go around.
That sounds really mean, but I'm totally fine with it.
When we get, when our two remaining leads are left, even they are like it's. I think that's what I like about this movie is that it does this. I can't. See, the thing is, I can't remember if this is when, because the thing is, like, this is also kind of horror trope too of like the things coming alive. Did it come alive? I don't think it did, right?
No, it didn't.
That's right.
I don't think.
No.
Yeah, even everyone else is like, this is maybe a little much.
I think did they make a comment of that? I think someone says like, I think I got a hard on or something like that.
You ever play Truth or Dare?
Have once.
I never really enjoyed that
I don't
game.
either. On here, that's the. What I love about this too, what I dig about the basement part too, is the fact that there's like a cavalcade of not cavalcade, I guess a assortment, or appropriate word, of all the different tropes. And let's see if can you name all the movies that they're referencing in there? Because I can name a few.
Not all of them. I can
name a good amount. And I was laughing because there's like there's a Hellraiser reference in there.
Yeah.
I think that there is a Saw reference in there. There's a couple other like Texas Chainsaw. Like there's really specific references, and I love, like I said, I love that they have a pool going. Which one are they gonna die by?
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, you son of a bitch! Like that they've had these queued up, and it's so hilarious because if you're a horror film fan, and you understand that that's the layer, it gets even better. You know, that they open up essentially the Necronomicon, for lack of better words, because, you know, you go down here and it's just like, what the hell is all this crap? Even for a normal kind of thing, there's no, like, it's such a weird thing, not weird, but it's just like, why would they all have this crap in here?
Yeah, and that build up is really great where like everyone's kind of chosen their own thing.
Exactly.
But no one's opened it yet.
Right, and it's just like, who's going to be like what, like almost like choose your death, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's what I dug about this scene so much, is that because it shows all the different versions of like your stereotypical kind of horror thing, and it's such a funny kind of reference to it, like, why are all these here? And we know now because they're being set up, and then we find out what the setup is. But it's like we've got the inanimate talking objects. We've got, you know, a whole bunch of other weird things in general. I'm waiting till I see the puzzle box. The puzzle box is like, I would love to have seen the Hellraiser version of this. We got the mirror.
Yeah, and if I haven't said this enough, Marty is the perfect audience surrogate. He's so great.
Yep. There it is. Because the thing is that he hasn't. This is what I love about that whole the whole, like, here it is, like everyone's got like the ones of everything. Yeah. They even got the film canisters, like that's the found footage reference. I didn't even notice that one till now.
Yeah.
Even he's interested. There's the puzzle box or a reference to it. And it's just like, and then there's the book. It's so great that they're all here, and then once they figure out which, like, you know, what's one of it says, guys, check this out. It just requires one of them.
Yeah. Although think about how crazy that would be if everyone simultaneously opened all of theirs.
That would have been like hell coming from the earth. I think that would have been too much. I think this is such a subtle way of doing it that like notice he put his glasses on right then too. But what I love is that you know, Marty, after a certain point, like, because he's smoking like the hardest of hardcore shit, that's what protects him.
Yeah. From
all the other bullshit that goes on.
Yeah. And it's really great because, you know, starting off, like, right from his entrance, you can tell he's playing this person who feels like he has this really deep insight on the world already going into it, because it just kind of plays into that character. And so I think that's a really cool way to go with it.
And here it is. Like, just saying it. I love. I think, doesn't Marty say, like, okay, we've read enough? Does he something in Latin?
Oh yeah, because they're like,
draw the line. That's right. Because again, that's what holy crap, I think he looked at the audience. He's like looking at us. Did you notice that? That's it.
I'm just convinced all Latin is evil.
Most Latin is evil.
Yeah.
Unless it's in church. And even that's questionable.
Sure.
And again, you know, once this starts happening, like, it's, again, so freaking stereotype, you know, to the point where, Like, what I love about this is that it implies that all this is, there just hanging around until needed. That's what I find the weirdest part is. It is the Buckners. Son of a. I love this. Isn't the intern win this one?
Maybe.
Oh, maintenance. That's right. That's right. I thought that he went the same way. The zombie redneck torture family are totally different. Son of a bitch. It's like there's always next year. And again, the idea behind it.
That is a pretty funny commentary on horror.
Oh God, yes.
Just like, no, like, are you kidding me? These are completely different genres.
Magic. Like, I love how it explains a lot of stuff. Like, you get used to it.
Yeah, and we'll go deeper into that when we.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll definitely get more into the for lack of better word, the old ones as we get there. I love this. His hand on the conch. And by the way, when it comes up, I will point it out. But I love the
payoff for that setup.
Oh my God, the payoff was so amazing for that joke.
Yeah,
I was just set up that when it happened, like. I think I literally lost my shit in the theaters when that kicked off. When you get to that payoff for what the merman joke is, I lost it. Yeah. I was like, I had to pause it. What are they going to do? I love this too. I love also the fact that it starts referencing the other ones. I love it because it's like, it's the way, I can't wait till that happens. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's those things because we start going through the history of horror. Like we show the other kind of horror films. Like I imagine like the German the Scandinavian version is like
it's a bunch of trolls running around killing people.
That kind of stuff. Like that's why I think they reference some of that stuff. I know they reference the Japanese one for sure.
Yeah.
But even then that adds another layer at this point too because you see that there are other teams, and it's like, well, why are there other teams for this? And they're stereotypical kind of horror films. But it's like, well, why did they fail? Like, what does the failure mean? And why is that so important? And then you start to learn that later, too.
Yes. Marty's too good for this world.
He is, but he proves at the end, that ends again. When we get that end scene, there's so many things I want to talk about more.
Seriously, it's so smart.
Oh yeah,
like to have Marty as the dude who knows all of it because theoretically his character. All before this, outside of this, he's the guy who might be like, no, seriously, something's going on here.
Yeah.
I can see through all of this. And then, it's the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Yeah.
Except,
which is why
the wolf is here.
Yeah, which is why
people are kissing the wolf.
Yeah, exactly. But what I dig about this movie so much is because it does here, like we have our characters, here. Like he starts to realize, why is Jules suddenly, And the thing is, because they start questioning him because he's all weirded out.
He's blazed.
And like, he's just really high. And then that's the point because I think they say that they end up lacing it with something.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. Like give him like some really, really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
A book with pictures. But yeah, that's why I love it, because it starts developing these things that, like, you know, and what's cool about him Marty as the character is because he's saying these things, like, we as the audience hear this stuff. Like, did you notice that? Like, what do you mean? Well, the motherfucker's a sociology man. She's a full academic scholarship. Why the hell would he be acting like this? And then you have the audience start questioning, like, you know what? Why would he be acting like this? And you already kind of know that there's this layer of the team, so to speak. I'm just like, but you know, even having these, like, you start seeing the usual tropes and everything else, and now we have, you know, the two going there. I don't know if anyone gets. I think we off somebody already, right? Don't we?
Yeah, I hear one of these two.
Yeah, one of these two I know gets offed.
I believe.
I mean,
but also it's a really good way to really build a relationship with Marty, and that the audience really, really wants to root for him, because he's, you know,
I love that scene. We're all alone. Oh man, I love that was the thing, was that is like because the thing is, what's funny about that scene is that that's like every male, like, teenager's movie going experience. Mm-hmm. Like when you're at the right age, you're watching the movie of like, it's too chilly, you son of a, like, why did you take your top off, kind of thing. And that's why I'm laughing harder, because like every guy there in the scene. Anyways, I'm sorry for interrupting you. The scene just kind of came over me.
Yeah, no, I was just talking about Marty being the chosen one.
Well, yeah, and that's why you really start to root for that kid, because he's not only just he is the avatar for the audience. Mm-hmm. Like, he's the one that kind of questions it and everything else, and he becomes almost the avatar for this whole thing. Because even at the end, you know, once we get there a bit further, we'll point it out more. But even the end, he's given a choice to kind of save things, for lack of better words, and he says, "Go to hell." And I love that so much when it gets to that point. But
yeah,
you know,
I really got to give me one of these wooded areas.
Yeah,
one of these forests.
Well, that's where you get to do weird things with girls.
Is that where this happens?
This is where it happens. Okay. It only happens in wooded areas.
All right, I'm taking notes.
I just love that they're watching it. Like this is like what's going on. This is their work week. This is how things are. I think that's what I find amazing, that this is their work week.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unlike a Scam School shoot, really.
No, this is how Scam School is.
Yeah,
this is.
It's changed a lot since Discovery took us over.
I know, Score. You know, this is. Now here's an interesting meta question. Do you think the camera is controlled by them, or that the camera is just us, the audience?
This camera?
Yes.
This is us, the audience.
Okay. Yes!
Because controlled by them, it's usually static shots for the most part. It has much more of a surveillance feel. They do kind of mix up what the audience sees and what they see.
Yeah.
When they do like those really nice transitions and stuff. But I think pretty much everything that we see from their perspective is purely audience. Omnipotence and all-seeingness.
Here's hopefully our first death sequence. Bitch is gonna come. And see, it's this point in the movie where you realize that it is still like that, even with all the jokes, even with all the humor, and even with all those kind of weird things, we're still in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And we're still gonna have those sort of scenes of just complete and utter. I'm waiting for it, holding it.
Utter. This is the eagle all over again, Roberto.
Yep. Gore.
That was worth the build-up. Thank you. All right. But also, it's kind of...
And then here, that they're like, what are they doing? And why are they praying to pentagrams and things like that?
What, you don't?
No, I'm just... But
I do.
But again, they took it very somberly. They said it, and then they did this. And then this is like what's going down now, too.
Yeah. But also, having both of these storylines it actually makes it quite a bit better of a horror movie because like somehow by having this meta layer, you actually have, I think, quite a bit more stakes than
I agree.
Just about any other horror movie.
I fully agree. It has a lot more stakes. I agree. It adds that, again, it's a strange layer to add to a film. Mm-hmm. But it adds the layer. Little Nemo. It's just shit is topsy-turvy.
But yeah, because with a standard horror movie, you can do so much with character development and trying to get the audience onto their side, and yeah, that can be effective. But there's something about having this separation and knowing that something is happening to these people.
Yeah.
That makes you just immediately want them to get through this weird thing that's happening around them.
Oh, that's what they're trying to tell him, yeah. I'm going to go for a walk.
Did you ever watch Dollhouse?
No, I did not, actually. I take it back. I watched an episode, and that's about it.
I think Dollhouse is when I really became infatuated with Fran Kranz.
Did you say he's got a husband bugle?
I
just got that text line.
I don't think I was paying attention. I was thinking about Fran Kranz.
Yeah, I know.
I was all flustered.
And I thought there'd be
my God, it's full of stars.
I'm just waiting for this. Like, there's so many. We are abandoned.
This is really nicely lit.
No, again, this is a well shot film. This is beautiful. But I'm laughing only. Bitch. Dead. There's Jules. He tosses Jules' head, I think, right?
Yeah. It's a good head.
It's a great head. Again, another trope.
Yeah, Chris really should have been training up for Thor for that guy.
Yep, pretty much.
He would have just been like, get out of the way.
But no, she was missing an arm. Watch the master work.
So great.
Yeah, good idea. And doesn't Marty go like, what? Really? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Again, he's playing the horror film guy. Like, he and this is where he sees the camera for the first time, right?
Yeah.
That's right. And they try to this is where they think they're all boned. That's not good. This is where he starts to him seeing this is even better, I think.
Better than what?
Well, better than like if anyone else had saw. I guess him having seen the character. Mainly because I thought in reality that's exactly what it is. Like this is where he's supposed to die, but. So when does he bust out the... That's right. Now is when he busts out the bong. El Kabong.
Yeah, I remember in theaters, I was just like, no.
Same here, yeah.
Like this is the only character I truly care about.
I agree too.
And then I just remember like after it cuts away in just a second, I remember thinking, okay, well they didn't show him explicitly dying yet.
Really?
So there's still a little bit of hope.
See, I lost all hope at this point, like that he was dead.
I probably 80% assumed he was dead, but I had a little sliver of hope because I didn't specifically see him dying.
And even this you wonder about, too.
I was like, he's too good of a character to immediately kill off. But yeah, so that last scene was kind of our... well, I guess they also did it in the woods, but where we kind of see how they're manufacturing these scenarios and making people act in not entirely believable ways as a means to the end.
Well, yeah, because that's sort of what they have to do. And like I said, I'm waiting right now for a couple of the other sequences, so to speak. I can't, like, when they... Like, there's a line that they say, and when that line comes up, you'll know when I want to talk about this, is you want to do it right, you get America to do or some shit like that.
Oh, something like that.
Something like that. Like, I'm waiting, because again, it's such a great joke, that joke that they have. Like, the beats that they play when they play the joke, they play them very effectively. Because, like, right now, we're just in straight up, movie territory. We're nothing special, nothing crazy. We're just kind of doing the stuff. Mm-hmm. We don't have any. There's nothing, out of the ordinary. We just have weapons and, the torture room, and it's like, oh, this is what went down. She was tortured as a kid, and
yeah, but I mean, all of this stuff is super important to, build up and set expectations for this element.
Right, because this is all the diary stuff. See, what I really wonder now, this is what would be an interesting kind of...
Man, my diaries were never this interesting.
Well, no. What I'm wondering now is, do you think... Let's say that they had picked another scenario. Let's say they had picked the Hellraiser. Do you think that they got down here, like, each one of them has, like, this is the torture room. This is the black room. This is the, leather tanning room or some owned. Gone you be. I love, again, it's but do you think that there's that within their sort of metafiction, so to speak, that there is other that they describe these all in different ways?
Oh, that maybe they like each potential outcome reappropriates
exactly
the assets that they have at hand.
Yep.
Maybe.
Because I wonder that. Because, I mean, like, that's... Like, it's explained... It's already implied that these guys have...
Because it's...
Throw a girl in a volcano? How old do you think I am?
Because though they do have some kind of supernatural control over these things, it's not like they're morphing the basement into something that more appropriately fits.
Exactly why I asked that question of, like, do you think maybe that they have sort of that they have the torture room acid, if they fall into it, that will appropriate to be for the right fiction. Like, this is where they like, for example, let's say the Hellraiser one, this is where they sacrificed the goats to get to open the 10th layer of hell or some shit like that. Or
yeah, there's probably some crossover where they just kind of recontextualize things,
right?
But there's also
Here it is.
I would imagine there's also probably separate areas that more specifically work for different fictions, and then they're just led to those separate areas.
I'm sorry to break it up. Yay! This is great right here. I love this line. There it is. You want good product, you gotta buy American. There's no cave in. I love that there's such a but I love that. This is also what I like too, is that there's this B storyline, like, that we kind of like, we're watching them kind of like scramble too to get whatever their mission is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which in a meta sense, it kind of it makes it really interesting to think about, other horror movies where, they have certain scenes where they give you hope and they're like, oh, they might get out of this kind of
exactly.
Okay. And you're thinking like, oh, well, maybe someone's fucking up their job and trying to stop them. That's probably why.
Exactly. Someone fucked up, didn't get the cave in going at the right time.
Right.
And now that they got it, it's just like, what?
Which kind of makes a little bit more sense for some things that are like super close, highly improbable.
Yeah, like this.
Things, yeah.
That makes sense. I didn't even think about that. But no, I when that Japanese joke first came, I laughed so fucking hard, especially the like fuck you. Just the fucking 9-year-old Japanese girl. And that was it. When you want something good, go you buy American. It's just like, fuck yeah. It was and again, it was such a trope. It's such a classic fucking Japanese trope of like releasing the spirit, and now it's all he's good and a frog, and it's weird that way. We've done the Japanese thing.
Yeah.
And this is where I can't remember. I guess that's where they revealed the whole, like, they throw the rock, right?
Well, before that, Chris Hemsworth drives the motorcycle.
That's right. That's what it was.
And they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here? And then they throw some stuff in there.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's right. I'm going to jump this because I'm the jock.
I'm pretty confident, even if that wall wasn't there, he would not have made that
Probably
jump.
not. But those things are going to pay. I kind of wish he had made the jump, because that would have been awesome too. Because I would love to have seen him just, or not made the jump, but like the fact that they put that there and they see it and they're like, "What the hell?" And then that's when things get weird, even then for them.
Mm-hmm. The first of many payoffs.
Yes. But yeah, that is showing the Japanese teams in Madrid and everything else fail. It definitely gives a very much this is bigger than this one team combined, and I think I dug that a lot. Like, here it is. Woo! Boom. And it's like, what the hell is that? The thing is, he hits something, there's nothing. And that's when she starts to realize that he was telling the truth.
Yeah. Which is great because, she's the second most person that we confide in.
Yeah, Dana and Marty were that, and so... And again, what I like about this a lot is that now we start to see, like our B plot people get nervous and get scared.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of interesting because
that won't work. See now
because all the guys in the office, starting out in the movie, you kind of root against them a little bit because they're the people behind these horrible things, right? But kind of towards the end, you start to empathize with them a little bit because they're doing their job, they're keeping everyone alive.
Yeah, this is their job. They got to do some stuff, and sometimes the bad guys got to do it. Oh. And then the idea being that they all die here, but and again, I love the early celebration when it comes up. Because they play Celebrate, I think.
Yeah,
oh, that's right. And again, just it's again like, we were on this autopilot, and then they don't succeed, and it's like, oh shit, now we got to scramble and win. Because again, these are all tropes and everything else, but you're right, and in terms of we still want them to succeed because, as lovable as Marty is and this character is, we still, the other guys, we get a chance to develop their personalities. Like the ones that bring the comedy, they bring this sort of humor to it, and they bring this sort of meta layer, and I think that's why we want. Like, here it is.
That's a really nice transition.
Yeah. I love how the ritual and that's true. Like, what's funny when they're saying that the original version's death is optional, that's very true in horror films. Usually the ones that live in a horror film, in a very stereotypical one, are anybody that did not sin, premarital sex, and that kind of shit. And so the virgin living is a very common thing. And this is where we learn that our boy survived soon.
Yeah.
And then what I love coming up, as this, because if you didn't know going in the movie what was happening, even this would seem like a logical point to end at, right?
Yeah,
here it is,
more or less, sure.
No, that's right. They play the other song. And it's so bizarre because it's like, this is an office party. Like, I've been to office parties like this, where it's like, product launch, yeah! Accounting's over there. The over drunk intern too. The thing is that we're not even at the like. Here it is.
Yeah.
The red phone's ringing.
This does provide a really nice break from all of the craziness happening out there.
And here it is. Why does and it's funny because like you have to follow these tropes. Like you can't have this die last. Like you can't have the virgin die first. But here he goes.
My day.
There we go. And then shit's back on now.
Right.
Like everything that was not on is back on. Celebration's done. Everything's back on the table. And so, them doing that kind of office party, again, it was such a, you could have, if you didn't know going in how long the film was going to be or anything like that, you would have thought, oh, that's the end point.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that's a good kind of act break for this.
Yeah.
This even slightly deeper level.
Yeah, exactly. Now we see. Now we're into the shit, so to speak, and this is where we kind of see the other layer of what could have happened and what is happening.
Yeah, because they've gone through the how, and now you're starting to get into the why.
Exactly. And so them sort of going into the. I love that. Not at all. I love this. This is it gets. I can't. I'm just like waiting because it's such a because again you get to this point and you still don't know what's gonna like exactly what's gonna happen.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. It does provide a good act break of like, oh, that's the end of the film. I guess they lost. They won. Whatever that means. And then it's like, no, they didn't win. We're still going deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. I think that's what I liked about this portion of the film was because we get deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole and we see the potential possibilities of stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's really cool because, you know, they've gone through the full movie up to this point to where,
Yeah.
you know, these two storylines have been very much separated.
Yeah.
And
here's where they link. I dig, too, because what I dig about this one is we see hints of what their other fates would have been.
Yeah.
Like, we see, you know, I don't remember if we see the Hellraiser guy or not.
I think they do.
I think we do eventually, but I don't know if we see him right off the get-go, is what I'm trying to say, because they reveal other evils, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of these first few guys, and then he also comes back once everyone's released.
Exactly, that's what it is.
These are pretty cool elevators, though.
No, I mean, what's cool...
We should have more elevators like
sure.
this. Yeah.
No, what's cool about this whole thing is that as you get revealed, you know, right now we just see the kind of close-up sort of shot, and we see the Wolfman, the werewolf kind of guy character, like, oh, I'm evil, I'm a beast. And we see other kind of creatures as we go through the whole thing, that when they do the wide shot of the area... Like, it is insane, you know.
Yeah, comprehensive.
Yeah, like they have, like there's a ghost in their area, like that's the thing, the hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's nice that, you know, earlier they alluded to genre mixing, but it's here that you realize they're like, oh, this is an all-inclusive universe.
Yeah, but this is basically where they get all their evil monsters from.
Yeah.
Like that's the ballerina that would have been there, like the equivalent to the there's that their Hellraiser guy.
Yeah.
That they're the equivalent to like that, like that's the Ring kind of reference almost, or
yeah. And I think this bit really makes. I think like the basement part is a veneer of depth.
Yeah.
It's like where you can imagine that, oh, there's all this weird stuff going on, but it's not until here that really they kind of build up the universe to a way where you say, oh, like there's actually a lot of shit going on, like everywhere.
Here he goes. This is where she kicks. We choose. It comes up. We chose. Yeah, we chose our death. Right, and then that kicks in, and he... And she gets all mad because she's, like, you know, completely pissed off. I wonder what these guys are thinking. I wonder if they're thinking, like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, when we do the pull, like, right here, this is probably my favorite shot in the whole thing because we see, like, all the different boxes of all different types of deaths. You see there's a twin, there's a clown, there's the twins over there. I think that's Bill and Ted right there. Actually, that looked something like else. I mean, we may have to, you and the audience people may have to zoom, you know, pause this recording and pause that because I don't know what the hell that was. It looked like a different kind of movie almost.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I would like to. There's so many things I'd like to pause, like here because. And then the zombie arm. Good work, zombie arm. Because the idea was we let, just the girl. The girl steps out because she's optional. Whereas we had just confirm kill that guy first.
This is almost like some Portal shit.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I got a lot of at this point Resident Evil vibes, but I mean, again, the cool part of this is just the fact that we have the merging of these story worlds now, and it's like, well, what do we do now? Now that the truth has been revealed, how do we comprehend this?
Mm-hmm. And so much of the early stuff, it's following these horror stories, and we all know how the horror stories end.
Right.
But now we're kind of in uncharted territory.
Well, yeah, now we're hearing things like Ancient Ones and being offered up to as sacrifices, and we see literally SWAT teams, and we're in, very much a clean environment and stuff. And now it's a matter of, like, these guys.
Yeah, it's like, where do you go from here?
Yeah. And then she realizes.
I feel like there should be some kind of like access code barrier.
I figured that too. Like, that's truthful. There should have been like some type of like card swipe or at least double key kind of
biometric
bullshit.
scanning.
I would at least
something.
put way more security on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
At least 2 keys, like Cold War style, and
Yeah.
like crack a code up and put it there. Because when this happens, like, are you kidding me? If anyone could have done that at that point,
It seems like a really poor oversight in the
Yeah.
design.
But I love this. I love that this is when everybody's like, fuck, we are fucked. Like, this is when.
But I mean, it's easily forgiven because
Oh, yeah.
because of course it's awesome.
Oh, God, yes. Zombies. It's like caked in blood. Yes. Aliens. I don't know what movie that's referencing to.
Me neither.
The common things that do that sort of stuff. Just regular killer, giant anaconda. Yeah, we have much things to teach you. Crazy surgery. Suicide. I think it's Hostel. I bet you it's a reference to like Hostel and shit like that. I'm waiting for the. Where is he?
I think it's still a couple minutes away.
Okay, because there's.
Yeah, I know what you're waiting for.
Yeah. I love that they go code black and then that they lock it down. There he is right there. We have Pennywise reference there to, of course, It. Man Bat or something like that. All exits are blocked. And then of course the creepy girl. Zombies. I love that reaction. She's like, fuck. It's got to be zombies, right?
He's like, of course. Of course.
Of course it's zombies. Oh, Pennywise.
What do you feel about clowns?
I like... I want to believe that's a reference to Blade Runner. I want to believe.
Well, it's great because that's pretty true to actual unicorn mythology.
Yes, here it is. No, she's like, I want to join the game too.
Not the whitewashed children's unicorn mythos.
Yeah, not our My Little Pony Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you feel about clowns?
Can be creepy. I'm usually neutral on them, but when they're done with creepy right, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. They have a lot of potential, a lot of scare potential.
Yeah. By the way, I like the fact that they have in their office just as a fail safe. Yes. As a couple things like fucking nukes and full semi-autos. Here it is. If you wondered what the payoff was going to be for the merman joke.
This is like the eagle, Roberto. This is like the eagle. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait. Boom. I love that so much because you realize what it is. You're like, oh, come on. This is horse shit. Like, that fucking sucks. Fucker. Jump in there, bitch. Like, well, fuck that bitch. And that's right, she runs into him and dies. You. And then it's like, why did he say that? And then we started learning about more of the actual.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
Yeah,
it's an interesting first meeting.
It is, yeah. Again,
of the two forces.
Yeah, it's easier with this. Just shoot the motherfuckers. It's easier.
Yeah, because from her perspective, you have to imagine whatever this force behind this is just like this
nameless, faceless,
this cruel, horrible thing that wants everyone to die.
Right, because her introduction to them, even beyond that, is simply a SWAT team and gun people, never people like that age or old. And then now you get to hear, and this is where things get weird, because we saw hints of this, but we didn't see what all this was and why all this is important.
But yeah, her meeting that dude kind of puts a face to it, and she sees that this dude, despite being stabbed in the stomach, he's not some horrible monster. He's just some dude who's kind of looking out for her and for everyone else, you know. Well,
because the thing is, you once our by the way, I'll spoil it now or get to it now because it's something we should talk about. Do you think because it's Sigourney Weaver that makes it that much more epic of a cameo, even though Sigourney Weaver has been the go-to cameo person?
I didn't feel strongly one way or another.
And the only reason I bring it up is because I think it was Paul, the movie with Edgar Wright and not Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg and
Nick Frost.
Sigourney Weaver's the cameo in that film too. Sorry, I spoiled that for you people. I didn't see that in this movie, but I had to. But I bring it up because her being in this one, I was like that's amazing. And then I see her again in that film, that's redundant. And I think Sigourney Weaver is now becoming that because she's such a a science fiction kind of trope. I mean, she was in Aliens and things like that, and
Right.
she's almost becoming the go-to. But I do love how she kind of goes into here a bit more. What I like about this is because it explains all the different concepts.
Yeah.
You know,
and with the ancients, it's kind of interesting because it's one of these things where it's like you can suspend your disbelief enough for that because it's not like you've ever been to the center of the earth or anything like that.
No, of course not.
Like nobody knows what's down there. I mean, except for scientists.
Yep. And then she goes, "But I'm not a virgin." It's like, me, virgin? I've had sex, like, because it's like...
And at the end of this does kind of pose a rather interesting question. Is it worth appeasing these gods?
Right.
Like, is what we're doing to maintain status quo worth it?
Well, I guess it brings up the ultimate, as Spock has said, the question being, do the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few?
Right.
Or the one? Especially in this case, because as we come to the end, it's like, look, we could appease these gods so long as you kill shoot that motherfucker. Marty, but then it's up to our virginal lead to determine that. And to the point of like, does she do it? Does she not? And she questions it,
Yeah, and this is going back into that kind of uncharted territory. Like I feel like not many movies have fates of this caliber resting on one simple decision.
Yep.
If she pulls the trigger, she saves the world. If she doesn't, the world ends, basically. And
yeah.
It's not often that that everything gets delineated into such a clear and concise action.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, no, now I'm gonna fucking kill her. Because because you at this point in the audience, like, who are you rooting for? Which team?
Whatever served Marty best.
See, I
really just wanted Marty to have the best possible ending.
See, I was rooting for the other team at this point. Like, I wanted not Marty to die, but I was like, no, I want the world to be saved.
Yeah, I don't think I did. Just because, at least then, like I feel like if Marty can't stay alive, then goddamn it, I don't think anyone should be able to stay alive.
And this is great. Because she still gets her kill off. And she gets to pull them both off into the end. And then they get to deal with the old ones. And here comes... I think this is, as the movie ends, as we kind of come to the conclusion of this film, I gotta say, I like the way it ended for sure.
Yeah,
just
totally.
Marty saying, fuck it. Lighten up. Because at the end of the world, what else are you going to do? You might as well toke up at that point. Like at the end, if the world is ending, like that is when I would say is the best time to use drugs.
I mean, all right, yeah, sure.
Well, only because imagine you're in this situation, right? And the elder gods are about to consume the world because I don't even think Kurt has a cousin.
And this is so interesting because, horror movies, it kind of builds.
Yeah.
And then you get some kind of resolution with the force of evil, and then it's just like it all goes away, and then it's this weird drop off.
Right, because the world's about to end.
Yeah, but like here, I don't think it's often that you get to have like these quiet moments.
No.
And like they are single-handedly deciding everything in this really nice contemplative moment.
And then ended the world. But this is what I love about this point is just like, fuck it. Like, you were right. Humanity. And it's just like, that's like, I'm sorry, but if you're going to toke up, you know, if if the world's going to end and humanity's going to die, like, if this is what's going to happen, I think the only way you can process this is if you're high.
Yeah, sure.
Like, you just have to, like...
I feel like...
like this, like that kind of line. It's like, fucking A, man. Giant evil gods, right?
Who would have known?
Yep. It's just like... It's like, that's exactly what goes to your mind. Like, we should see him.
This feels like a very Joss Whedon moment.
Exactly. No, I love it. All the dialogue is Joss, but all the moments are Joss just because it's like, screw it. We're all dead. Just toke it up, man. Smoke if you got him. Get used to it because it's about to be different.
Yeah, and kind of like at the beginning where, you know, you're kind of like in hindsight, you're sort of surprised that they went full measure in doing the bad horror movie.
Yep.
You're kind of surprised at the end that they go full measure and saying, "Yep, guess the world's over."
Yep, pretty much.
See ya.
I loved it. I think it's a great film. It was such a surprise, and it's one of those movies that if your friends are on the fence watching it, just tell them it's good. Don't tell them why. Don't explain it. Just tell them, look, I know you probably saw the trailers, and you're like, I don't know. Just tell them, look, the marketing was horrible in this movie because there's no way you can market it. And when your friends watch it and they understand it, like, yeah, you're right. You can't market it because the minute you do, you ruin it. And by ruining that magic, that kind of twist, you take a lot away from the movie. You take a lot of the punch from the movie, I think.
I was just going to say only be friends with people who have already seen it and love it, but that's probably not the most productive
because
option at hand.
we've got to spread the greatness that is this movie because it's an awesome film.
Well, I feel like people who haven't seen it and don't like it will just die out
of
their own accord. It's natural selection.
Brandt, it's always awesome to do this show with you, sir.
It's all right.
Where can people find you online?
Twitter.com/Goddard, or is that, yep.
Is that your
GATOWAG. Also look for Brandt Hughes. I got a Tumblr, I got a Facebook, I got a Google Plus that I don't use. I got emails, I've got telephones probably.
Most likely.
I do have an address that you could send mail to, but don't do that because that's weird.
It's mail at Cabin in the Woods. P.O. Box. .info. P.O. Box 572. Albuquerque, New Mexico.
P.O. Box, get fucked, boy.
Oh, shit. Of course, you can find me. I'm at Vincent404 there on the Twitters. You want to talk to us, want to comment on our movie here or this whole podcast in general, go to our website. I was about to say this thing. CosmicRadio.TV/Cinematalkraphy. There you'll find links to show notes, previous episodes, and even our Twitter account there, which is Cinematography, right? That we have the
at Cinematography.
Yeah.
CINEMATALK. RAPHY.
There you go.
That's how you spell.
Exactly. You can hit us up there. Let us know what movies you want to hear us talk about. If there's anything you're like, I would love to hear these guys talk about this movie or that movie, or dude, I'd love to get your reaction on this one. Let us know. We are more than happy to accommodate the audience and make the kind of commentary tracks and the kind of movie reactions you guys want to listen to.
Yeah, and if it's like on Netflix or Amazon, that makes it really easy for us.
Even better, and it
makes it easy for you.
Exactly. You can all be part of this experience. So that's it for now. So tune in next time. But till then, bye.
Watch movies.
Yes.
Talk about movies.
Yes.
Make movies.
Yes. Star in movies.
Oh, yeah.
But
movies.
Movies.